Okay, so I thought I'd break this up into 2 parts from my live last night. So those of you that wanna just watch a certain part. So this one is going to be just my interview, or our interview, I should say, because I had a great panel up there asking questions, but our interview with Doug from Adventures with Purpose. So I just wanna thank you again, Doug, for coming out in such a last minute. That was so awesome that you came and answered those questions, gave us your time. I know time is precious. It's a busy time for all of us. Man, it's been crazy. But no, I really do appreciate you coming. I can't even thank you enough of what you guys do for the true crime community and for all the victims' families. Like, you guys have given so much closure to so many families. What was it? Kylie was your 24th person that you've found? That means 24 families would have been wondering what happened to their loved one. I mean, I hope you guys realize what you do and how important it is. And I know it's with this case, it's a little, there's a lot of emotions, I think, going on because it's so new and so fresh, and the family is just grieving. And so I hope this doesn't change the way you guys do things, like that. As far as you want to do more current cases, I hope this doesn't change that, because we need you for current cases too, and cold cases, old cases to current cases. I just hope this doesn't deter you because of all this grief you've had to put up with this case, because it is current. And so the family's emotions they're so fresh, so they're at their beginning stages of grieving. So I just want to thank you again, just in case you don't realize how important what you guys do is. So just keep doing your thing, and we will be backing you as a community. We'll be right here backing you, watching the great work that you guys do, and just trying to send people your way and help keep you guys going, because I know it costs money. So we're going to try to all work together as a community and just keep doing what we're doing, Okay, so I'm going to play the video, but I just wanted to thank you all personally one more time. Well, there'll probably be many more times, but all right, here's the video. Hey guys, got Doug here from AWP and Autumn. You guys know Autumn Renee, my mod. She's always in chat. We're rocking it. And Tyler, yay, you made it!
So right at the top of the hour, I have about a 20-minute meeting. So I'll have to hop off for a little bit and probably hop back on.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you came. Thank you. We got Doug here. I'm so excited to
Doug,
Hey, Tyler.
have you here.
It's going
So,
great.
it's a surprise because I didn't even put it in the title. So people are probably like, whoa. We got
You gotta hurry up and change that. Hurry up and change that.
I know
Tyler
I
and
should,
Doug.
huh? Wow.
Doug, I'd love to have you on my show sometime if you'd want to come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
You're in high demand, Doug. So let's talk about Kylie here. I know you're probably not able to answer everything. Autumn, you had some questions though. I didn't even get to listen to your recording, so you could just ask them.
Yeah, ask away. You could, there's either I can answer or I can't, and I'll be as helpful as possible.
Okay. I'll let you go first since you had some already.
One of the questions I asked was, after they retrieved her vehicle, did they tell you to step back and not have anything to do with that whole process, or?
Yes. We were asked to leave the perimeter, and we were not consulted any further on the activity that ensued after we left.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Tyler, I'll let you ask too, since you said you don't have that much time.
Man, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And I actually did an image of your footage, Doug, where I enhanced it. And this was on Saturday. I did it live on the air. I took it to Photoshop, enhanced it. I circled all the things that I could see in the vehicle. I clearly saw a MacBook. I circled that. I clearly saw a hairbrush, including the little gold spot. I circled that. I clearly saw the MacBook charger. I circled that. And so it was absolutely no surprise to me yesterday whenever I see an image from the water that I again enhance, and I see those same items laying at the bottom of the lake. And I just have a hard time understanding how is this possible. And some of the feedback that was coming my way was like, oh, FBI promised they were searching this area, blah, 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 blah. So could you talk a little bit about how does this possibly happen? And then again, talk about the protocol that some of you guys typically do, which would be to put nets around the windows, I think, or whatever that looks
Yeah,
like so those
yeah.
items don't disappear.
Um, obviously this is a tough topic. We have to work with law enforcement all across the country, and it's never, we're pro law enforcement. However, this is evidence that has been displayed to the public, and these are issues that, these things can't be hidden, and they're not. There'll be millions of people that are now aware of this situation, and as respectively as I can put it is, when we come into this, most jurisdictions that we work with, they recognize the experience that we bring to the table in dealing with these particular matters. When it comes to preserving the integrity of evidence underwater, recovering of a vehicle, there aren't many more experienced than us.
Right.
And most agencies and departments tend to depend on us to command these operations. Unfortunately, that didn't take place here. You had CHP, FBI, as well as several other agencies that were involved here. They did what they thought was best. However, they don't do this all the time. Had we done this, absolutely the vehicle would have been recovered differently every step of the way. But again, that falls on us doing it every day, all the time. We're no stranger to these underwater vehicle forensics removals, as well as protecting the integrity of the evidence. That's our main focus when we're doing what we're doing. This particular operation was conducted by individuals who, maybe have only done this a few times in their entire career, and also not under this type of case.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just a stolen car that was ditched, and there's no thought into what may happen or what can't happen, and so it's just what that comes down to is us being way more experienced in this area than they were. So the answer to your question, no, we were told to leave, and we were not consulted about how it should be done. I would have, with the windows open, so you take a controlled environment like that where you have windows open, you have no current, and you have wonderful visibility, which we hardly never have.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of our episodes, you've seen us in some really harsh, deadly conditions.
I watched one of your episodes today. It was muddy, murky water.
Protecting evidence, and so had I been in charge of this operation, I would have elected to slowly and methodically remove whatever evidence could be obtained through the windows. Once that is done, I would have sealed the windows up, and I would have recovered the vehicle on its roof. I would have never uprighted the vehicle underwater. Once you do that, once you do that, you open the door. You open the door for a lot of things to go wrong. And again, this is knowledge and wisdom that we've obtained from doing this so often, and they just don't do this that often.
I mean, did they give you you guys a choice to retrieve it, or did they just kind of take over?
No. I prefer to do it because this is what I do. I recover vehicles. I've recovered vehicles my entire life being in the towing industry. So, and then by doing this so many times with Adventures with Purpose, we're pretty darn good at it, and we understand what can and can't go wrong, and the steps you need to take to preserve evidence. You got a window open, you need to remove that evidence if you can. If not, seal up the vehicle before you even touch the vehicle. And again, that comes down to us having a lot more experience in this field.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing what your process typically is. It seemed to me too that there was a little bit of animosity from the way that law enforcement spoke about you guys during their press conference. I think you guys maybe settled that, whatever that may have been the next day, because I know you were working with the team and giving them some pointers on how to use that sonar. Who do you think is responsible for the after dive to make sure that none of that evidence is sticking around?
The commander that's in charge there of the scene, which we know we have CHP, FBI, Nevada County, Placer County, whoever that entity was that was in charge of calling those shots. I wasn't in that. I don't. I wasn't in that perimeter. As a spectator at that point, which we were turned into spectators, it looked like they were they were doing the best that they could. I know in hindsight that is not, wasn't a good job, but for the type of experience they had, they did what they could.
Mm. Well, I'm proud of the work that you guys did to recover Kylie. And I think one of the most horrific scenes for me was just seeing Nick's face when he came out of the water. And I paused and stopped and looked at that, and I can't imagine what he was processing. Is there anything that you can share with us about um, why his face was that way, a little bit more in detail than what we know to be obvious?
Yeah, I mean that's it's a very tough thing. This was one of Nick's first solved cases, and seeing something like that for the first time is nobody's prepared for that. So it's the words can't describe, what was going through his mind, what he's seeing, and it's tragic. He just witnessed the body of a child, and it had her full life ahead of her. And so and we have been looking for her, and we've been telling her story, and we're attached to this person that we're looking for. As our channel has grown, we're now into being a voice for somebody that's missing. So when we're not just, hey, we're not just pulling a car out today, we're looking for somebody. What's this person's story? Who were they as a person? And so we're really getting connected. And Nick just wasn't diving empty. He was
Right.
diving with a he knew that you might as well say he knew this girl. And it's shocking. And Nick's doing great. He's a veteran of the Army, 11 years, sergeant. So he's got a background dealing with tough situations, and he's doing great. We all focus on the positive and what this means for the families and the agencies that we're working with. Is these are answers. As tragic as it may be, these are answers that we're providing, and that's what we focus on, no matter what we're doing.
Was there indication, like I know if there's a continuum between foul play and accident, it seemed to me the way that the documentary you guys created was leaning towards foul play. Is that where you still stand?
Yep, yep. When things don't add up, they don't add up. Too many coincidences become evidence. Some people say, oh, circumstantial stuff. Coincidences, when they add up, circumstantial things add up, they become overwhelming. So at this point, I'm beyond 50-50. Absolutely. Could this be an accident? They could come out and say that, but no one's going to believe it. I mean, it's tragic. There's upwards of 400 children at that party, and she's found not too far away, and nobody knows anything. This isn't a wrong turn road either. This isn't even a road. It's a path with huge ruts in it. So it's not a mistaking turn. This is where the vehicle was found. Is unless you're there and you're able to drive on that path and understand the road and how it hits the vehicle. You literally, when I drove our RV down the road to get to there, it was wobbling and almost turning over. There were several times I almost rolled it over and flipped it.
Wow.
So I mean, this isn't I just made a wrong left turn, didn't realize I made a wrong left turn. It's a beautiful paved road in and out of the campground, and you're on a dirt road.
Rough dirt road, it sounds like.
Yeah, this
So
is one of the worst accidents ever, or it's definitely foul play.
So you're like 90-10.
This has just turned into a rabbit hole for everybody. It has. And I think out of the goodness of everybody's hearts, they just want answers. They're just trying to figure things out. And I'm definitely majority thinking that it's, there's a lot of suspicion in areas there shouldn't be.
Did law enforcement seem to think that after you told them, the details of the car and what you were thinking? Did they have any suspicion, or what did they say?
They're playing it really tight to the vest. I think their lack of response publicly explains it all. I think their response the other day saying that they're not going to respond again until November says it all. Why wait so long? Obviously, if they come forward and announce they suspect foul play, there comes a whole nother level of pressure publicly on, okay, who is it? Who's your suspect? So they're not going to do that. So they're giving themselves some time to do it the right way, thoroughly. And I think that the fact that they're willing to drag this out so long, says a lot.
So on the video, I noticed her dad seemed a little suspicious when you told him that she wasn't in the driver's seat, she was in the back. Did you get a chance to talk to him? And did they
Yeah.
thank you? Did her parents thank you for finding her? Yeah. Okay.
Dad and grandpa were so like humbly thankful for what we did. There's so much that we could not put in our episode, the exchange between the father and grandfather and I, because of the things that were talked about in relevance to what may or may not have happened. And yeah, he was extremely frustrated when he got there, and we did show a little bit of that. There was no hiding that. But he was very grateful. Him and grandfather were extremely grateful that we were able to find Kylie. As much as that is ending hope in that scenario, really strong-headed, and they're not going to give up until they have answers either. It's just a tough time for them right now, and it's just a big grieving process for them at the moment. And their fight is not over. They're not, I don't think, going to accept that this is just an accident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's obviously heartbreaking, and it's interesting because they're keeping some of it close to chest, and then obviously with this evidence that was discovered yesterday, they're dealing with wildfires like crazy and evacuating people. And so I could understand why they were late to the scene to want to try to figure out what's going on there. I can understand why they're late to the scene to make a statement about it. Nevada County made a statement. I don't know if you saw that, zavgirl, a few minutes ago, and just said, "Hey, just reminding everybody we are the leads on this case," and that was pretty much it. They didn't address it one way or another. Did they ask you to keep any of it quiet? Did you have to do a non-disclosure agreement? What does that look like?
No agreements, but we're not trying to act unprofessional or disrespectful or compromise their investigation. So, we're choosing to be, to play it tight to the vest as well. It's just not going to benefit us by getting ugly. We don't have to. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
What happens in the dark will come out to light. It may take some time, but it's just up. We have to maintain a level of professionalism too. So there were no agreements or anything, just an understanding.
Well, that's good. Zab, thank you for letting me on, ask a couple questions. I'll be back if you're still doing questions and have a panel in like 20 minutes or so, if that's okay.
Cool. Yeah,
if not, Doug,
definitely.
it was great to see you. Sorry for
Likewise, Tyler.
See you
No,
guys.
thank you. Thanks, Tyler. Okay. Autumn, so do you still have a couple questions you wanted to ask him?
One question I had was, did you have any interaction with her mom?
Not directly, and no, we did not. Coming into the case, mom at the time was heavily protected. She didn't have access to social or whatnot. The sheriff's department that we were speaking to assured us that they were in communication with mom and so forth. So my main point of contacts were extended family and friends.
Did you notice that strap sticking out of the trunk?
I did not until the world showed us. Like I said, we were asked to leave the perimeter, and so we didn't really have an up close view of the car, other than obviously the footage, our underwater footage, which I haven't I'd never watched and went over with a fine tooth comb like that, but I see it, and that's really alarming. How is that hanging out? Why is that hanging out? That's not normal. That's far from normal.
I know. We're trying to
And,
figure it out.
and I think that's one of the awesome things about, obviously there's been some drama created online because of this case, but that's normal. I think at the end of the day, everybody just wants to try to help. Yeah, obviously some are out for themselves rather than others. But the fact that the community is coming together and they're finding these clues out, wow, when I seen that hanging out the trunk, that was alarming. Why is that there? What does that mean? What does that mean?
What do you think it is? Do you have any guesses?
It looks like the end of a seatbelt to me.
Yeah, it
And,
does.
and how on earth, I've never seen anything like that. How does that even reach the trunk area? Um, if that is a seatbelt, but I don't know. It's like every day something else is coming out and leading to the question marks that are out there.
So somebody says it's a black. I don't. Huh? I didn't think it looked like a belt, like a
Like a
person's
buckle.
belt. Yeah, like
Yeah,
she had
it
that
didn't
black.
look. Yeah,
What do you?
it didn't look like a belt. I mean, it very well could be. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Looks like
I'm
your
sure now that we're
vehicle.
talking about it, there's probably people out there that are
Oh,
zooming it up and clearing it up. And
yeah. Um, Question from Avery. Can you ask him if there was anything about her physical appearance, position that looks suspicious? I'm not sure if you can answer that, but
those particulars I cannot answer. Again, it's an ongoing CHP, FBI, Nevada County investigation. I mean, obviously, at this point, everybody knows she was in the back cargo area. I mean, that's out there. So that's suspicious.
and as far as okay, so I heard you on another interview saying about the wheels being turned. I think it was you, either you or Jared were saying that that's normal, right? Like that it could
Um,
turn
yeah,
underwater.
yeah. Paying attention to where the wheels were facing doesn't mean anything because
Okay.
they can change when it hits the water, and they could have changed when they pulled it out and rolled it over.
Okay.
So there's basing anything off of the way the wheels were is inaccurate.
And so from your expert opinion, you believe that it was a neutral, right?
That was my initial opinion. There's
Okay.
some experts that say that as long as the vehicle's not in park, it'll roll freely in any gear, reverse, neutral, drive. And I mean, in my memory, from towing those all-wheel drive CRVs, especially pulling them backwards, they don't necessarily roll freely. Um, it will roll freely moving forward, but I mean, I can be wrong. According to the experts, they can, I guess, roll freely in reverse, neutral, or drive.
Okay, so Avery has another question. Did they roll her vehicle over sideways or front to back?
Um, I doubt that that her vehicle wouldn't have rolled over front to back. They would have had to roll it over sideways, and it happens very slowly. And that's what happened when you roll the vehicle over underwater. You already have the open windows, so the stuff that was already on the headboard now is slushed out. So that's what took place there.
And what about the front passenger window? Is it broken or rolled down? Because we heard him say two
Uh,
different things.
it's definitely
So
broken out. It definitely was
okay,
broken out.
okay,
The back window was halfway down. Back, I guess,
okay,
back window. Yeah.
okay. So the passenger, the one because I know when they rolled it back over it, the front driver side must have broke, but the one that was already broke when it was before they flipped it, he came up and he said that it was down, but when he was under there, he said it was broken. So you're saying the passenger front was broken?
I'm pretty sure if you look at
Okay,
at our episode in the video, you can figure that out.
okay,
I'm pretty sure.
okay,
You just got to slow it down and look at the edges and so
okay.
forth.
Okay, can you give your opinion only if you think her vehicle went in forwards or backwards by the way it was found? Crazy
Um, I,
Mama
I,
asks.
I think it went in forwards.
And you think you guys, Jared explained how he thinks it just went like this and then kind of rolled over like that, right?
Yeah, that could have happened. So there's no exact science behind how a car reacts once it becomes buoyant. There's so many different factors that come into play. It is common though for a car to flip upside down because of the engine weight as well as the wheel pressure in controlling the buoyancy, especially with a vehicle that where the windows are down. There's no trapped air. The air is leaving and water is rushing in an alarming speed. It takes seconds. So you have a typical vehicle if windows are up, a vehicle can float depending on the conditions if the windows are sealed because it's trapping that air. There's a lot of pressure. The water, the water coming in and air coming out is a lot slower versus that car had that at least the back window down, and there's no pressure there. There's nothing to, the water's just rushing right in, the engine weight and the wheels flipping it like almost instantaneously in a matter of seconds.
You're muted, Zach.
So we had a guy on a couple days ago, and I disagreed with what he was saying, but I just want to ask you. He was saying that it was flipped this way and that the front was closer to the shore, but the front was outwards, right? Am
Yeah.
I saying that right? Okay. So it had to have went. It couldn't have flipped like this because okay.
Oh yeah. They're not gonna flip it like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
that was yeah.
he was like he said he was an expert, like a Honda expert or something, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense because that's not even the way the car was found. Okay.
Yeah. So it didn't. It got rolled over on its side,
Yeah.
which is how the items that were found yesterday came out.
And Rachel asked, were the keys in the ignition?
I cannot answer that.
And could the cops have put it in neutral before they started pushing it back?
They could, but it's extremely unlikely that they touched anything inside of that vehicle.
They were touching the steering wheel, though. You saw that, right?
Yeah. Yes. She was standing there trying to just straighten the wheels out. But the FBI and the CHP being there, I would hope they wouldn't have touched the gear. And if they did, they would have, they log all of that. But I doubt it. There would have been no reason to do that.
Autumn or Amanda, do you want to ask a question before
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Amanda.
Nice to meet you, Doug. And
nice
I'd like to thank you for looking for Jolissa. That was big over here. And personally, I'd like to thank you for your work doing that. But my question is what everybody wants to know. Are there any updates on tow truck driver? Does law enforcement have info from the cloud, or is there any updates with that, Nick?
Oh yeah. They have that all taken care of, and they're on it. They have all the information that they need. This stuff doesn't take long. Everything that they need was obtained within hours. So I mean, and they're just doing a really thorough investigation.
Great. Also, are we going to expect more videos from you guys during this time when there's still active investigation?
On this case, no. If there are certain developments in this case, yes, we definitely do have another episode that will come out. But that's we can't do that, or it's going to heavily compromise their investigation. So, we're at the end of the day, we work with law enforcement all across the nation. So we're going to help them as much as possible, as well as, continue with our purpose.
Wow. Thank you. And do we expect a Jolissa episode from what you guys did there?
Yes. So we are rushing Jalissa's episode because of the circumstances in her case. She's out there, and, we were able to come in and rule out some areas that were of concern. And, the second we were done, the Selma PD in Fresno County announced that they were starting a criminal investigation. And, so we're hoping to get our episode out there for her to be a voice for her. And hopefully, somebody will release her and or produce some type of information that will lead to her whereabouts.
Thank you so much for answering that. And then I just have one last question. This was for our friend Teresa. She was asking, why did they feel that it was suspicious when they found her? Can you explain on that? Was it something having to do with her? Why you guys found it suspicious more than normal?
Are you talking about Kylie?
Yes, I'm sorry about Kylie.
It's not just one thing, it's everything, every step of the way. Everything. I mean, starting with before we even got there. I mean, just everything about it. If it looks like it, talks like it, walks like it, smells like it, tastes like it. I mean, things it eventually overwhelmingly add up. And then when we're in there in that moment, and there's just an energy, vibe that just can't be explained. It's like I said, it's just overwhelming to us what we were dealing with.
Was Nick the tow truck guy or the roadside assistant guy? Did he verify the vehicle, or was it more Kylie that he recognized? Can you answer
that? Everything about his story was verified, and as far as with us, it was verified. We didn't. He became a part of his story because of his credibility. Anyone who dismisses him as not being credible is wrong, 100%. You got to think that we wouldn't have went there if it wasn't. And 90% of what we talked about obviously hasn't been shown and won't be shown unless there are certain developments in this case. But he's definitely credible and awesome young man, and he's just became part of what it is that we do. We don't enhance anything, we don't fake anything, and we're not out to create drama. This is just how it unfolded organically for us. And that's just the way it happens on all our cases. We come into cases a lot of times and they haven't been worked on in 20 years. And we come to town in one day and uncover evidence or clues, X factors that have never been uncovered. It's really weird how all that unfolds there. But back to how, who he identified and all of that, he did. He knew what he was talking about, and in those identifications, we were confident in what he was saying. Put it like that.
Oh, okay.
When you say identifications, and it appeared to be your understanding that it was Kylie.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if there's room for error, there's definitely could be, because she's, I'm not trying to draw any unnecessary heat on anybody else. But she's not the only blonde girl in California. So, could it very well have been somebody else? Yeah. And then, you have him describing very, very mysterious behavior. That's weird. That's really weird. And, you guys, as the public, I'm speaking, have put it out there better than we have. Like, why were they standing on each side of the vehicle? How come they couldn't stand together? And there's explaining this weirdness. Was it her? Could it have been somebody else? And were they trying to stop somebody from going to the back of the vehicle?
That's what we're all thinking, or a lot of us are thinking.
Yeah, and that's a possibility. I'm not saying this to just take everybody that further down a rabbit hole. I myself don't know. Like, what was that? How else do you explain two people that won't stand on the same side of the car with each other? And if he went to one side, the other would go to the other, and so forth. What are they doing at that point? They're trying to stop somebody from going to the back of the vehicle, right?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking.
And at least it sounds good. It sounds legitimate.
Yeah. And that's why we're wondering if maybe it wasn't Kylie, and maybe he just recognized the car. He saw a blonde, and he just thought it was her.
And you also have to understand that this young man is a week later walking into a store, seeing a flyer, and boom, he understands what he saw and what happened with him out there, and is putting it all together. So I think there might be room for error in the female per se, and or the male. Everybody wants to talk about one individual, because of that hat. How many millions of those hats have been sold? And this is California. That's a very popular style of hat amongst young people. So I think getting lost in, that just the hat itself, could be inaccurate.
But he's obviously, well, not obviously, but he's probably seen that interview with the person we're all thinking that it could be. Has he, like, in private, has he said anything on who he thinks the guy is to you guys, or?
I can't answer that right now.
Okay.
I can't.
Just between friends.
Yeah, just between friends.
If there are certain, like I said, if there's certain developments in this case, well, we have a whole nother episode that will come out, and And that just goes to show, man, we're not out to create unnecessary drama, because if we were, that episode would already be out. And you know, it would far more suit the people that think the hell you're just, you know, in it for glory. And no, we're just trying to help. You know, we were asked to help. We came and we helped, and we left, and we went on to help the next family. And that's all we want to do. And at the end of the day, our actions, our character, and our demeanor, and our product as a whole speaks for itself, and will always overshadow all that other drama.
A lot of people are asking this. I'm not sure if you could answer this, but did she have clothes on?
I cannot answer that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Can you answer if she had shoes on?
I cannot.
No. Okay. Autumn, do you
I
have
want
any?
to. It's
I
just
know,
I have to protect their investigation, and I'm not trying to interfere with anything that they have going on.
And we thank you for that. We know how hard it is sometimes to have info that just can't be let out, but it's vital to, you know, to the investigation.
I saw in the Sun that there was a $50,000 reward, but I haven't heard anything else about it. Are you guys entitled to that? Who was offering it, or do you know anything?
We don't. We don't know. We don't work cases for rewards.
Sure.
If a reward is given to us, we definitely will honor a reward. I mean, we're at the end of the day, we're trying to do what we do on a shoestring budget. So those things greatly benefit our cause and in helping other families, but we don't seek them. We don't we don't pick cases because of that, or because they're fresh, or because they're headlines. So we haven't even discussed that. And like I said, if there's a reward that is out there and it's given to us, we'll honor it, definitely.
So Lisa Nia asks, can you please have Doug explain who called for the car assistance? So we've been trying to figure out, was it like an automatic call, or did she call? Did he call? Because her phone was supposedly dead, right? He said the girl's phone was dead.
Yeah.
So how did he?
So that information I can't release,
Okay.
but I can tell you that they have all of it. They have everything that they need, and they're working it really, really hard. A lot. You know, you got to understand too. A lot of these developments and these high profile investigations sometimes happen very slow because of you know, how high profile they are. You know, the lack of information sometimes to the public can be a good thing. Like I have full faith that they're all over it, 100%.
If you had to choose between which day you think he saw her, do you think it was Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, remember he said it was his girlfriend's dad's birthday, I think he said. That made him remember. Pretty sure that's what he said. Somebody asked, and I had it up. Who was it? Ooh, oh yeah, that's Craig Essex says, did the passenger window break when the car hit the bottom? And I know you don't know for sure, but is that a typical thing that happens when it flips and hits the bottom? Could it have broke?
That's not a typical thing. It's common, like I said, for us to find cars upside down because of the way they react and the buoyancy and the tires and so forth. That bottom of that river was very, very soft. The lake there is very soft. And it's not typical for windows to get busted out just by the car floating down and resting. You know, if that's the case, multiple windows would have broken. Is it possible? Yes. It's possible, but not speaking from my experience. I don't think so.
Interesting. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Do you guys have any other questions, Amanda or Autumn?
How many people are on here?
A lot.
5,100.
How many likes do you have?
I don't even know, actually. Let's see.
You guys want to support AWP? Just go ahead and hit that
like.
Yeah,
yeah. But go subscribe.
Hit the like button. If you're watching this and you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, thank you.
Hit the like button.
I feel
I linked Adventures with Purpose in the description, so go ahead and click on their link and subscribe to them too.
Yeah, and if you're not subscribed to us,
you better be. What are you waiting for?
So I feel a little bit embarrassed asking this because I did miss the beginning and I don't know if you answered it, but what are your thoughts on, you guys mentioning that you hope law enforcement took more pictures from the inside and to document her items, and then to now find out that they probably didn't do that, because then they would have noticed that these items would have been missing this entire time, now that we know that they were at the bottom of the lake. What are your thoughts on that?
I can't speak to what they did in their investigation while the vehicle was still underwater. I don't know. Obviously, like I stated before, there's lots of things that we would have done differently had we been in command of this operation. But I don't know what they did or didn't do while they were, cataloging it under the water.
Have you seen any more footage than we have of the party?
No. The lack of information that's out there, whatever's out there, the FBI and CHP have. You got to understand, you're dealing with a party that had upwards of, at a certain times, over the entire night, 400 kids. These are juveniles. This is information that is, really private, and to protect, to protect them, there's not going to be hardly any ever shown to the public other than what those children decide to release on, Reddit or any other type of forum. But most of these kids weren't allowed to cooperate because, this is a senior send-off party, and their parents and guardians did not want their names attached to this case, which is understandable. It just doesn't help the investigation at all.
Well, yeah.
You're muted.
Keep doing that. I'm sorry. I mute when you're talking. So
you must have a dog barking. Do you have a dog barking? Why you keep muting?
Sometimes Zeke, but I'm in a habit just to cut down like outside interference. But no, he actually wasn't even barking. But so Teresa, I think somebody wants to come up and ask a couple questions, if you don't mind. A couple more questions, Doug, or is that okay?
Yeah, no, I ask away. Okay. If I can answer it, I'll answer it. If I can't, I can't.
Okay.
I have no problem helping you guys. We're all in it for the same purpose. We just want to help find answers, and it just sucks right now. I'm just going to say, it sucks for Kylie's family because, this is overshadowing a lot of things, and none of us are doing it intentionally. It's just, there's answers that aren't produced, and until this is closed, unfortunately, this is just, it's just a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Teresa. Teresa?
She's muted. You're
She's
muted.
muted now too.
Muted.
Well, I'll ask this question why she's muted. So Snow Turd 518 says, so if they were able to turn the steering wheel, the ignition was either on or in accessory mode?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the steering wheel isn't going to be free on a Honda unless the ignition is either on or like you just stated. Definitely.
Okay.
He or she. I don't know who Snow Turd 518 is. I don't know. But yeah, that's
wait, so that kind of answers one of our questions from earlier, doesn't it? Huh. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Teresa, can you hear us? I don't know what's going on with her. Hopefully she'll be able to figure it out. Let me see what other questions are in the chat. Teresa? Okay.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. How many likes you got now?
Whoa, 2,000. Wow, dude, that helped.
Nice.
It was like 900 something when you said.
Nice.
Question
good.
From the chat.
If you guys are coming into this at any point into this live, hit the like button before you listen.
Wow, thank you. I can't believe how quick that was. Teresa,
I
can you hear us now? Go ahead.
I really hope this doesn't deter you guys from doing active cases, because you're doing great, and this is kind of what we need in times like this. Had you not gone out to look for Kylie and Jalissa, these would be questions that everybody would be asking every day. Have they searched those lakes? Have they searched that water? And thanks to you guys for working on active investigations, and I hope you continue to do so.
And we are. This is we're growing. We're not some national federally funded search organization that's been doing this for 40, 50 years. We're a vessel of the community. The community puts us in this position. The community called us on this case, and we're there. And anytime we can help, we just want to help. And our hearts are in it, and we're pretty good at what it is that we do. So the more good we can do in the world, we're going to make that effort every step of the way. You see, Jared, we have two teams. We're trying to form two teams now to double our impact. And, that just says a lot about the direction that we're going. We're in talk with, agencies to consult and so forth. So things are definitely growing. And yeah, we won't be shying away from any cases that we know that we can work and make an impact on.
Hi, Tyler. You made it back. Thanks.
Hey, I'm back. Yeah. Sorry, I had to step away for a couple minutes.
But you sound really low. Is this just my earphones? Can you guys hear him good?
She's a little low, but
okay.
Oh,
maybe
I was just saying sorry. I had to step away for a couple minutes.
There you go. It just popped. It got louder. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So, do you have any questions that you want to still ask, Tyler? Go ahead.
Yeah, if some of these questions were asked before I got on, I do apologize. If I just say something you guys have already addressed, just be like, oh, we've already talked about that. One question that I had involved the tow truck driver and his testimony. Did you guys go into that at all?
A little, but
yeah.
I'm not sure what
I ask away.
Okay, I heard, and it was kind of conflicting between something, Doug, I heard you say, and then something that I had heard Jared say, and it caused confusion for me, and I talked about it on my channel. I got really bad feedback. I took my video down, so I apologize to everybody that was upset about that. I did not understand. It felt like one of you guys was saying you had a positive ID on the person that the tow truck driver was mentioning, the male that was possibly with Kylie. And then it felt like you were saying you weren't sure about that. Do you have a positive ID on that person?
I can't get into it. I can't. Okay. I mean, we kind of addressed it already. I think there's some room for interpretation there. If there's developments that come out on this, we have the complete new episode as far as 90% of the rest of that conversation, how that went, how we broke it down, how we made possible identifications and so forth.
Okay. Well, I think that's part of like some of the confusion that like a lot of people have been targeting a certain young male, and it's like based on that.
And you know what? That's and I get that, unfortunately, but millions of those hats are sold. It's a
that's what I was trying to say. Like everybody has those hats. Yeah.
It's a very popular style of hat amongst that age group. And I mean, we didn't name names. We went out of our way not to name names and or throw shade unnecessarily, but to also bring our viewers into the integrity of why we did what we did coming into this case.
Yeah. You're right. And that's the thing I was saying. Like, I grew up in Missouri. I'm like, everybody had a St. Louis Cardinals hat where I grew up. Like, literally everybody I can think of had a St. Louis Cardinal hat. Same thing there. Everybody has the San Francisco Giant hat that they're wearing. So I definitely understood that. So I was trying to make that point too. But so I appreciate you sharing that. Was that date confirmed that it was on the Saturday morning or Sunday?
Yep.
And it was confirmed to be her car.
As far as I know, yes. The authorities have all of that information, and they're dealing with it. Like I stated earlier, we just have to unfortunately be patient for them to finish their investigation. At the end of the day, they could come out and say that, hey, everything is just an accident and move on. Unfortunately, we are not going to move on as a public. I think that in this case, it's just too much suspicion involved to accept that. But they'll come out with those answers and either corroborate or refute things or announce arrests and suspects and so forth.
Oh, it's definitely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. It's tragic.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Let me interrupt you. So it says, why does Doug say left turn when we see right turn? I didn't
Uh,
catch that you said
yeah, yeah,
uh,
because if you're looking at the map and you're thinking about coming in to the park, yeah, it would be a right.
uh,
But leaving the park, it's a left. Get it? Yeah. So leaving the park, it's a left.
okay.
Coming into the park, it's a right.
Like the last turn, you mean? That she would have made?
Uh,
Is that what you're talking about?
just the turn to get onto that particular
Oh,
road.
the main. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. And Nova asked, did the car look like it was underwater for weeks or days? Can you tell?
Yeah.
There's no really we didn't I can say we didn't find anything suspicious about and we didn't think the car was just put there or anything like that, you know.
Okay. Okay.
The rumors that are out there that that are far-fetched, they're absolutely just far-fetched. um, the car
Okay.
was there. We have no reason to believe that the car wasn't there the entire time.
So
Well, it
basically,
had to be
after
a
that
day
tow truck
after, though.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have to be
Yeah,
after.
yeah. So another thing, we're also looking at this massive search outside of Gabby Petito. This is the biggest search in years.
Yeah.
So, but this didn't start like that. There was a 24-hour, 30-hour time frame before things really
Really
got
heated up. Yeah.
heavy. So there's a lot of window for opportunity, especially when the possible sighting the next day happened just 9 hours later. You know what I mean? 10 hours later, whatever it was. So that's not suspicious at all. It's possible.
What is something that hasn't been asked or a talking point that maybe you guys are having behind the scenes about this, but you wish would be addressed on a YouTube channel like this?
Good question.
Great question, man. Great question. Really, I can't think of one. Everybody has been doing such a great job. Like, you guys have been knocking it out of the park collectively when it comes to the little bit of information you have and what you've been able to put together. Like, I've seen you guys put together stuff that wasn't even aware about, because you got to think I go out of my way not to get involved in anything else extra. We're mainly focused on finding the where. Unfortunately, this case just comes with a lot more extra on the back end, and I try not to get into any of that stuff. So the rabbit holes that are in my mind with this case are kind of confined and in a tunnel with blinders on, and the little bit that I pick up, I'm like, holy moly, like, that makes sense. Like, that person did some homework, and I wasn't even thinking that, but it's possible. So, I mean, answer your question, no, man, I can't think of anything really good that's hasn't been asked or hasn't been put out there. These platforms are amazing for this. The true crime community has really helped a lot of people, a lot of cases, and it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
So you're in favor of social media. That's great to hear, and I know it's
Oh yeah,
vital to what you guys
as
do.
as negative as it can be, there's power in it. I mean, we're a vessel of the community. Like I was saying earlier, we don't help families or law enforcement unless people watch our stuff, and we don't do that unless we receive donations or somebody wants to buy a hat or a
I bought a
t-shirt
hat today, by the way.
or a braid, and that directly funds what we do. It's super, super expensive. We're able to do what we do because of social media. And I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Where else can you really support something directly and see results? Left and right, like huge, impactful results. Like, that's powerful. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish any other organization you can donate to, but it's really hard to see the results in other places when you see it with your own eyes. And we're sharing it with you. We're sharing the stories, and we try to do our best and telling somebody's story as respectful as possible. And thank you for buying a hat. I really appreciate that. It's
I'm like, I wonder if people will think I'm a part of search team when I wear it out.
They might, Tyler, but
people will stop me.
Wear it proudly.
Yeah.
And while we'll have we should have the window breakers back up.
I was gonna ask. That's what I was
Any
gonna ask.
day
Okay.
now. Any day now. They should be back up, and I'm sure maybe Jared or somebody's watching this and they can answer that for you guys for sure in the comments after this is over.
Yeah, keep us updated because I know a
yeah,
lot of people are wanting
those
to get
those
one.
those tools are critical.
Yeah.
Not having one in your vehicle, your life is at risk. And this has nothing to do with just water. So many people die from extremely small accidents because they can't get their door open. They die from smoke inhalation. So being able to,
Think about
you
it.
get in one little fender bender and your doors are crimped, you can't bust the window. Those few seconds of smoke inhalation, unfortunately you'll become a decedent. Being able to have that accessible in your car, not in the glove box, not in the center console, but accessible near your steering wheel. We have some awesome little clips that are going to come with these new ones that we have. They can clip hard onto your visor. Or people that don't have ignitions, they just have a key fob. You can zip tie it to your signal arm or your shifter or whatever.
Yeah, that's great. I drive across the Mississippi River quite often, and those bridges to me seem like they need a little bit of love and encouragement.
Whoa.
So I'm like every time I'm like, I need one of those things from AWP when I'm crossing it over. In the case of Kylie, I think that there's so much media and speculation around it. Was there ever a time when, in the heat of it, where you got so much criticism? I know you guys were trying to like hide from, you said in the video there's 30 reporters on the hill or whatever. Like, was there ever a time where you're like, gosh, I don't know if this is what I want to dedicate my life to? This is getting rough.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you can bring as much heat as you want, and we're going to continue to do what we do. Like I said, our hearts are in the right place. Our motives are in the right place. Our characters aren't going to be wavered, and our product will overshadow all of that other drama. And and no matter how hot of a situation it is, we'll come in and we'll function the way we need to function, and we'll combat all of that just by being us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
And that's why, all of those investigators and reporters and the agencies that were crawling around out there when we made that discovery. I mean, you'll see in my episode, I really went out of my way to try to keep it quiet and not cause unnecessary alarm and so forth. And that just, in every case we do, we're learning. Every search is different. Every case is different circumstances, terrain, and so forth. And, we make every attempt every step of the way to adapt and innovate so that we can become better.
So Elizabeth Lander asked, what was the temperature of the water that day, at least when you guys were in there?
I believe it was about 80 degrees. Very warm.
Wow. Okay. I did hear that. 80. I didn't
And
expect it to be that warm.
If you look back at our episode, in the sonar reading, it'll show you the temperature as well as the depth and so forth.
Okay.
And
Teresa,
that's one of the things listed there.
I'm going to take off. It was really nice meeting you, Doug.
Yeah, likewise, Autumn.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
Bye,
Autumn.
You too.
Bye, Autumn.
Oh, Teresa, yay, we could hear you.
I know. I could not connect to save my life. I'm so sorry, you guys, for disrupting.
Oh, it's all right.
I have a question, and it's kind of a complicated question, and I'm not sure, Doug, if you're going to be able to answer it. But
Sure.
Nick, the roadside assistance guy, he talked about how they were the man or the girl and the boy were walking around the car, and they'd stay on opposite sides. Did he happen to say who would move first? Like, did the young man walk over to the girl and she would walk away from him? Or did, she move and he went over to cover where she was standing?
I don't think that was conveyed, other than his interpretation of the behavior was she was uncomfortable with him. Now, is that just his young innocence, unable to interpret what was going on? I don't know, but he conveyed that it was more she may have just been uncomfortable with the guy that was there.
So she was probably moving first, or he was probably moving first towards her. She was uncomfortable, so she would walk a different direction.
I think that's accurate to say. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
my other question is, did you guys consider going back over there and doing another, search after the car was recovered?
We
Seeing that
did.
the windows were open and not covered.
Yeah, so we did. I can say that we were assured that it was taken care of, and we had no reason at the time to believe it wasn't. As spectators, we were watching multiple divers in the water during the recovery. So, being as though we were instructed to leave, and we were instructed that things were being taken care of, and it appeared that way at the time. We didn't question it at the time. You got to think.
I watched that helicopter footage, and those divers came out of the water with nothing in their hand, and so
Yeah.
I was confused about that. I'm like,
Mhm.
even from a standpoint of knowing the windows were busted in those high quality photos, were you guys the ones who took those photos, by the way?
Well, it was our videographer that was there, and that's another thing. We were asked to leave the scene, so it's not like myself and Nick were just standing there watching every moment. This was we were assured. We had no reason to believe that they wouldn't take care of this the way they should have. CHP, FBI, and multiple sheriff agencies. We had no reason to think that this would have taken place. Obviously, in hindsight, yeah, I mean. It's it's a learning experience for them, I hope, for sure. And
Wait, they asked you to leave this. Why did they ask you to leave the scene?
at that time, it's a FBI crime scene, and technically we're civilians. Like I said, most jurisdiction and agencies in that scenario, when we discover someone, they use us because they understand how experienced we are in protecting evidence. I mean, we show it in our videos how careful we are and the importance of it. And there's been mistakes in the past when we weren't allowed to command these operations, and this is unfortunately another one. So it's a learning experience for everybody involved, and it's tragic.
I actually have one more question, and a lot of people have been asking, but it's something that I saw myself. So I'm unsure how well you've gone over the footage. I'm sure you have looked over it, but if you look at it from the driver window to the passenger, it almost appears as if there's somewhat of a curtain down on the floor of the passenger window, and it resembles a deflated airbag. Any idea if that's what it is?
I don't think so.
So do you know for a fact if there were airbags deployed or not?
I can't answer that other than I don't think the airbags were deployed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Doug, how long was it from the time that you guys confirmed that Kylie was there to the time that you guys talked to her dad and grandpa on the shore? What was the time span?
90 seconds.
Oh, wow. That was quick. It's quicker than I thought. Okay.
Father and grandfather were there way before authorities were. Like instant. My
they were like on
notification.
standby.
Yeah. Our notification to extended family members. It was 90 seconds after that.
The back seats, they were up, right? The back seats weren't pulled down. Somebody
Not to
asked
my
me
knowledge.
that. Okay.
What about the driver's seat? Was it in recline mode?
I don't know. From what I've heard from the public and them like analyzing the video, I guess I've heard that the seat may have been reclined.
Looks reclined.
I'm not sure. Yeah. So I don't know. I just, as far as that goes, I've heard several people in the public say that it looked like that when the car was coming out.
Honestly, I'm not sure if it looked reclined or just really far back, as if whomever was driving was very tall. But I guess Kylie was 5'7", so it could have very well been her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And Doug, I know you said you weren't able to answer whether she was actually wearing clothes or anything like that, but would you be able to answer if, any of the articles of clothing that she was reportedly last seen in, were those actually located in the vehicle? Like the white hooded sweatshirt with the pink writing?
I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I understand. I just wanted to see if possible, as Amanda says, between friends.
Yeah. No. I ask away. The only stupid question is a question you don't ask, and either I can answer it or I can't. As much as I can help, I will. And if I can't, don't take it to heart. It's just we have to respect the integrity of their process as much as it doesn't make sense to people, and as much as it's not the answers everybody wants. We just have to trust in that process.
Yeah,
At the
we
time that you
understand.
guys discovered Kylie's vehicle, was the FBI the lead? Was Placer County the lead? I know now Nevada has taken over that responsibility.
Mhm. At the time we discovered the vehicle, CHP and FBI were the lead.
They were co-partners on it.
Once the vehicle was discovered, yes. Now Nevada County is the lead on the investigation, but when it comes to uh, you know vehicle collision reassessment and forensics assessment and all of that, is CHP and FBI. There's no compare to those two entities, so they took that over, the accident reconstruction and so forth, and that whole operation. So there they were in charge for that moment.
So it was likely a CHP was the commanding officer.
If this is leading to like who's in charge of like the car coming out, I don't know. Just because they were there overseeing the scene doesn't necessarily mean that they were commanding that vehicle recovery, because there's 5-6 different agencies there. They could have very well been like, okay, you guys, they could have assigned that to a particular agency. And
Oh yeah, well, there's
I
like
don't know.
30 vehicles there. I assume it was like crowded with folks.
And it was live streamed. If it would be, you guys could easily, I'm sure, figure that out with looking at the key players who were doing those communications around the recovery. I'm sure that's discernible.
Yeah. Was it a CHP dive team?
I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Amanda, maybe it looks like Crazy Mama wants you to ask this one. Can you read it? I don't know. It says, Amanda, will you ask?
It's funny. I had just responded to her that I couldn't ask, but
oh, then you don't have. I don't know. I just saw it.
Okay. I see it. No, no, not at all.
Okay.
It's a simple answer.
Yeah.
Patty, he answered that already. Oh, let me put it up. Thank you for your super chat. There's a lot of same questions, it looks like. The rear view mirror was still attached prior to the recovery. I guess, do you know if the rear view mirror was still attached prior to the recovery?
I don't know.
Thanks,
and you got to know a lot of these things that we can't disclose, and or sometimes we don't know because we were asked to leave the perimeter.
Okay.
Patty's question I just saw there, how long was the vehicle underwater? Yeah. According to the buildup, it just, there was nothing suspicious about it. I mean, it looked like it had been there the whole time.
So I don't know. I don't think I have any other questions. It looks like all of the chats, a lot of repeats. Do you guys have anything else?
I have one more question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Do you have any updates on the search for Annette?
Yes. So we are in the process of coordinating. I was actually speaking with the sheriff's department yesterday. So we're right now we're working on coordinating our efforts and aligning them with the Coast Guard to obtain a larger vessel and be able to safely be able to do that search, because the area that we went to ended up being extremely deadly. So it's just going to take a little bit more time to finish that case.
And it's more the ocean than it is like freshwater?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, the ocean. Just one little section off of this cliffside that's under suspicion, and we just as much as we're used to pushing the limits of our capabilities and doing things other dive teams won't do, etc. We know our limits, and if we can't mitigate certain risk factors, we'll wait to do so when it's appropriate.
So I know you guys have talked a lot about like the difference between like freshwater and saltwater. What are you expecting is going to be you're going to be able to find, since if it is the ocean?
Nothing different. If the car's there, it's right there.
Okay.
Obviously, saltwater has the ability to break down a vehicle quicker. We're not working with a case that's extremely old, so I don't per se see anything that's going to stop us from finding a vehicle if it's there. If it's there, we'll find it. It's just a matter, like I said, of coordinating the appropriate resources to do it safely and efficiently.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for looking.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Somebody said it in chat, but I just have to tell you yourself. You do amazing interviews. You're just so well spoken and you're so patient. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and Zav for letting us borrow her platform.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for having us. So I just got a message. And so I think right now our website for our window breakers are back up. It's
good.
It's awpwindowbreaker.com. awpwindowbreaker.com. It should pop right up if you type that in.
Yeah, I got it. I pulled it up. Works perfectly. I'll put it in.
Those are going to sell out like right now.
I know it is.
It should be a mobile friendly app site there that comes up. It's $6.95, and those tools are critical, man. They'll save your life. They'll save your friends and family's lives. And like I said, it's not just underwater; it's on land too. There's a reason why firefighters and police officers carry our window breaker, because they're constantly running into little fender benders that end up in very dangerous situations for people. Like smoke inhalation kills a lot of people per year, a lot of people. So being able to open your window and exit your vehicle as quickly as possible, whether you're in a fender bender or underwater, seconds will dictate life in those scenarios, and it's critical to have that. And I'm not here to sell it; it's just I really believe in it. The work that I do with it is, I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, it really sells itself, and a little bit we can do with we're charging the minimum that we can possibly charge for this device, and it's $6.95. I encourage each and everybody to have one and make sure that their family members do.
It's very affordable when your life hangs in the balance.
Yeah.
Mods, can you help me maybe link? I'm putting it up, but it's not linking in the chat for some reason.
You got to make sure you have the HTTP part, so you got to copy it directly from your web browser.
You were able to find it, Tyler?
Yeah. It worked perfectly.
Let me type it in.
Yeah. I did have a question, Doug, about, and I think this is important, about the process of what happens with AWP after effect. I've worked in ministry all my life. We do big events. 2 days later, we have a big meeting where we completely debrief. And so I was just wondering, what's the debrief? How do you guys walk through the scenarios there? Do you guys sit around a table? Is it on a Zoom call? And then what points of conversation do you have?
When we're doing this, you got to understand we're traveling together in a very small group in an RV, and we don't stick around. We solve a case, we're gone that day, that night, and we're on to the next case. It's not so. That being said, we're together. We're constantly communicating. None of us are ever quiet. Everything we do is a debrief and a breakdown, and our guys are phenomenally great at controlling their perspective. Perspective is key, right? No matter who you are, what you're doing in life, or what you're dealing with or going through in life, it all begins and ends between your 2 ears. What perspective you decide to create dictates everything. Dictates your character dictates success, and so forth. So our guys, and being able to have that perspective of what we're doing is positive is really what we hang our hat on, and that's what we focus on. And we get that a lot. What you guys deal with is heavy, it's tragic. It is, but it's rewarding. What we do in providing answers is very powerful. It's extremely powerful, and you see that in our episodes. And our guys, we as a team are walking away, focusing our perspective on it being positive, and that's it. So it's not like we're like real deal Scooby-Doo. We're in a mystery machine driving around, constantly bouncing ideas and thoughts and feelings off of each other. Everything we do is a debrief, a decompression. We're not strangers. We're a family.
I've heard you mention that in a debrief meeting when you and Nick were talking, that one improvement or and not that there was anything wrong, but maybe you would have been a little bit slower on capturing some of that footage under the water. Was there any other little things like that that you guys talked about in those debriefing conversations?
Oh yeah. Every time we do something, we're learning, we're improving, we're adapting, innovating every step of the way. Every case is different. Every recovery is different. Every dive, so forth, is different. So any of those aspects, like I said, we talk about, and hey, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? What can we do better? Those are the three questions that I ask my guys.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, and we don't know it all. We're learning as we're going. So it's none of us have egos, and none of us are scared to say anything to each other. And like I said, we're a family.
Was there anything specifically in the Kylie Rodney case that you felt like you could have improved on?
Other than being in command of the recovery, no, not overwhelmingly. No, I think we came in and we did what we came there to do. And I think, like I said, in hindsight, I would have loved to command that operation.
Yeah, I think everybody wishes that at this point.
And it's hindsight. It's so easy to pick that apart and analyze mistakes after they've been made. And it's also easy to lose sight of, oh my God, these guys are amazing at it, and these guys drop the ball, but they don't do it all the time. So
Yeah.
Can you blame them? Obviously, everybody's going to blame them, but there's an experience difference that is drastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
How many window breakers do you have? Because you might have sold out.
I sold out. I know.
I don't know. There should be quite enough to make sure that everybody
The
has
website's going to crash.
one. That's a great thing. If everybody can get one, their lives are going to be a lot safer. Their friends, their families are going to be safer, and that's what it's all about.
Did I ask you about traveling with them? Traveling with the
Yeah.
window breaker? So I actually have a window breaker, but it's like one that is like a pen on one side and a window breaker on the other. And you can't travel with it. So can we travel with yours?
That question I can't answer. I don't know. I don't want to say yes, and then TSA ruins somebody's trip or stalls them. That's a great question, and I don't see. I would not recommend it because I don't know. So,
Okay, that's okay. No worries. I just wondered.
yeah, I think
personal
maybe you would be able to stow it in your
Yeah.
in your luggage underneath the plane. You wouldn't be able to carry it in your carry-on, I don't think. Consult with TSA, please. Please consult with TSA.
Yeah, you'd think you'd be able to stow it, like you said. So hopefully, if you need
Yeah,
to.
you can fly with firearms and weapons.
Yeah.
They just can't be in your carry-on. So I don't see why you couldn't have that in your checked luggage.
Alex Erickson asked about Suzanne Morphew. I guess you guys were supposed to go back when the ice melted. Is that something you're still going to do?
So those developments I can't speak on. I can say that the direction that the case is being worked on is completely different than when we were there. So we're waiting for that to unfold before we proceed any further with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I keep putting a link in the window breaker and
do
subscribe.
Look, I really appreciate you guys for having me on. I do have to run. I got to pick my daughter up from middle school. I would love to sit here and be a part of this, but I can't. I got to leave soon. So if you're watching this, make sure you guys are subscribed to Adventures with Purpose, and also hit the like button in here. And if you can, grab yourself a window breaker at awpwindowbreaker.com.
Thank you, Doug, so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, and we'll get together, Tyler.
Yeah, I'd love to have you. Maybe Zab can give me your email or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you, and thank
you.
your team for everything you guys do.
We will. Thank you very much as well, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. righty. Thanks, guys, for coming up and helping me.
Thank you
You
for
guys were a
having me
big
up.
help.
Really, really, really need your love. I'm begging you to be kind. I'm begging you to be